Anyone who's watched this show for a while knows I'm a big animal lover, so I was crying crocodile tears, no pun intended, for the Galapagos Islands, which are like the original place where we started to love animals and where Darwin's theory came about. And there's an oil slick there now. And to me, that is animal testing, and I want to get into that. I don't understand why we have to test on animals.
Me neither.
Neither do I.
Yeah. I'll jump in here. I'll just jump in here because animal testing is all about safety. And until we can use...
For not for the animals.
Absolutely. Until we can use an alternative like maybe social activists for testing instead.
How did the thalidomide disaster happen? That was tested on animals.
But all of the products that are tested on animals, that's how the poison control centers get their data. And if a child eats a tube of lipstick, don't you want to know if that's
within the cosmetic industry?
You should be keeping your child away from those things and not letting them eat them anyway.
But there are alternatives. This is a big myth.
But how do you think we got to the alternatives?
Tell them, Anita. Come on, you tell them.
Isn't it make you furious? You're sort of like palpitating.
It makes me furious because I've had juvenile diabetes since I was a little girl, and if animals weren't used in medical research, I'd be dead right now.
Well, let me just tell you, some one things I said should be clear. On something as totally irrelevant as a moisture cream or a shampoo, no living vertebrae should be harmed. Number one. And
I disagree with that.
Let me explain.
I think that if breast implants had been tested on animals, Hollywood people would feel differently about this issue.
There are better alternatives. Let me tell you, animals don't blush. They don't like human skin. So there's in vitro tests, there's cell culture tests, there's human tests. They're all different alternatives.
But how did we get there? We got there through animal tests. And I'm saying if there's a great alternative, let's use it.
Instead of driving cars, so we have new means of technology
to use. There. I'm saying until we have a substitute that is safe,
but we do.
Effective.
We're developing more and more. And
I would like to find a mother who would be willing to have shampoo go in its baby's eyes.
You see, I think
this is a very...
Just keep the shampoo out of your baby's eyes.
But that's not going to happen.
Or don't wear it.
It's not going to happen. Then your baby has to suffer because you've got a crappy mother.
You know...
But are we talking about cosmetic?
If a mother is going to let shampoo in its baby's eyes, that baby's going to suffer something somewhere very soon anyway.
You don't think a toddler's going to be able to go and drink some Drano at some point?
Drink some Drano, another good mother.
Well, I'm just saying those things happen.
They don't just happen.
Going to prevent the poison of Drano. It's still poison.
Are we talking about cosmetic animal testing or medical?
Well, that's the thing is they confuse it. They would make it sound like we're curing cancer, but mostly we're trying to find an eyeshadow that works for Catherine Harris. That's mostly what's going on.
Let me tell you, in medical school, one of the things that there's a lot of animal stuff that goes on in medical school. We worked on cats and mice and dogs. We did, and I have to tell you that my entire class was, I don't want to speak for everyone, but there was a sort of a tone that we were disturbed with the casualness with which it went on. There was not a lot of respect for the animals, and so that bothered us, but not doing it would have prevented our training.
But in reality, in the cosmetic industry, there are thousands and thousands, some 8,000 ingredients, of which, if you've just put a sort of a moratorium in it now and said no new medical ingredient, because most of it is coming out of the pharmaceutical industry, and you look in the past and you look at foodstuffs and other ingredients that could be used, and I don't think, and certainly in the cosmetic industry, people are no longer wanting to use animals because it's not working. And with all of this computer...
It's not working. It has absolutely worked.
That's how it works.
Yeah, but you know what? During World War II, the Germans and the Japanese were doing it on humans, and they made the same argument. We need this.
Yeah.
We got to do it, because otherwise we're not going to find out.
Because they had no regard for the people they were testing on.
I would absolutely not compare that our nation's taught biomedical researchers to the Nazis. And I think that's insulting, because...
But if you have no respect for what you... For the creature that you...
being philosophical about this. Some of us have to deal with just living every day and surviving with a chronic illness.
Do you not think that in this year, with the huge amount of billions of dollars profit in the pharmaceutical industry, which is almost secretive in this stuff, that they cannot, with their combined intelligence and wealth, shift their research into alternatives and tests?
No, doing that.
If they made that commitment, they would. I have to take a break. I'm sorry.
Politically Incorrect is coming to our nation's capital. If you plan to be in the Washington, D.C. area from February 5th through the 9th and would like free tickets, call 877-311-5678.
All right, tomorrow we have Amy Peets, A.J. Langer, Bruce Valanche, and James Herson. Thank you, folks.